All right, hey guys. So we're gonna be doing this a little bit differently. Normally we just kind of like film videos as we're going on the live stream because I like to kind of get that live feedback going. But the stream that we have planned today doesn't kind of line up with the game that we're going to talk about. I'm going to be talking about the new killer that's being released on Dead by Daylight. Well, not just the new killer, but also the new survivor. So on March 12th, we're going to get Chapter 31, All Things Wicked. And the killer for that one, in my opinion, looks amazing. And I think if you have stopped playing Dead by Daylight, I have a lot of friends that have told me they stopped playing it. This seems like a great killer to get back in and playing. They're actually adding some new things, and we'll go through that as well because we're going to be talking about both the killer and the survivor. They're adding some fun mechanics to the game that I think are going to really kind of bring back old players that stopped playing and help keep the people that are still playing having a great time. This isn't going to be a lore video, so we're going to kind of skip over the lore at this point. There is if you want to see a lore video, you can let me know. We can go back in and look at that. This is more going to be kind of focused on the abilities. Um, there's a new map that we'll just kind of briefly mention. We'll look at the perks that they get, and we're going to look at some of the items and just some of the base things that go around it. I have a little notepad here where I've been writing down some information and some highlights and some notes. And that'll be kind of all we're going to look at in this one. If you guys want to see like a more in-depth video about this, let me know. I can go back in and do a deeper dive. But let's go hop into this without further ado. So let's take a look at the killer. The killer is known as the Unknown, and with the release of the Unknown, we're going to get the new map of Greenville Square. The ability that the Unknown carries is a projectile known as the UVX. The UVX has a few different things that go on behind it. So we're going to kind of just go into that real quickly and just take our time to go through that. So it starts off by charging out. You hold and you charge the UVX button, and once it's fully charged, you press the attack button, which will launch a bouncing projectile, and it'll create like a blast area when it impacts. If you were hit directly by the UVX, you receive a minus 3% movement debuff for the hindered effect, and that will last for 3 seconds. However, survivors that are touching the blast area become weakened and will lose a health state if they touch another blast area. The UVX has a 7-second cooldown. There is a way to get rid of that weakened status, though, that happens when you touch the blast area, and that is where you successfully do an action known as staring down the unknown for 10 seconds. There's another ability called the hallucinations ability. The unknown will intermittently drop hallucinations with a maximum of 4 that can exist in the environment at one time. The oldest one gets recycled, leaving room to create the new one. Hallucinations cannot be created while charging UVX, performing interactions, or while in the proximity of an environmental object. And environmental objects are generators and pallets. They can't be within 1.75 meters. They can't be within 2.15 meters of empty hooks. They can't be within 3 meters of the hatch or an exit gate. They can't be within 12 meters of a hook survivor. And they can't be within 14 meters of another hallucination. Whenever survivors are touched by a blast area or become weakened, the spawn time of the hallucination is reduced by 10 seconds. There's another part of this as well, and that's the teleportation. The unknown can teleport to any of the available hallucinations that is at least 3 meters away from it and leaves behind a temporary decoy for 5 seconds. And the teleportation ability has a 25-second cooldown. There is a way to counterplay these hallucinations. Survivors can remove the hallucinations via the dispel action. This takes 4 seconds. Although, if a survivor is weakened, it reduces the spell speed by 25%. Failure to complete the spell action causes the survivor to become weakened and triggers Killer Instinct on them for 5 seconds. This can also occur when the unknown teleports the hallucination, which will interrupt the action. There's not really a good place for me to mention this, but the killer's base walking speed is 4.6 meters per second. So if you guys are wondering what their base walking speed is, especially because we've talked about a little bit of movement, it is 4.6 meters per second. Now, we have 3 perks we're going to look at. The Unknown comes with 3 separate abilities. We have Unbound. The description reads, pain lingers in the air, and an alluring aroma that excites the impulses. When a survivor becomes injured by any means, Unbound activates for 24, 27, or 30 seconds. This grants a 5% haste status effect for 10 seconds after vaulting a window. Then we have Undone. Hope is the delusion that keeps its victims alive. Whenever a survivor fails a skill check while repairing or healing, Undone gains 3 tokens, up to a maximum of 18, 24, or 30 tokens. Performing the damage generator action on a generator consumes all accumulated tokens and applies the following effects. Instantly regresses the damage generator by 1% per token of its total progression. Blocks the damage generator for 1 second per token. Causes the damage generator to start regressing once it becomes unblocked. Undone has a cooldown of 60 seconds. Unforeseen. Terror takes many forms and whispers devastating lies in its victims' ears. Performing the damage generator action applies Unforeseen for 22, 26, and 30 seconds. Transfers your terror radius to the damage generator and sets its range to 32 meters. Grants the undetectable status effect. And now we're going to move on to the add-ons. We have Blurry Photo. The blurry photo was found at an abandoned campsite. The campers were never seen again. After teleporting, your full movement speed is recovered by 50%. Punctured Eyeball. The station was a scene of madness. The officers had seemingly turned on each other. Survivors successfully performing the spell interaction on a hallucination while they are both in the injured state and the weakened state suffer from the deep wound status effect. Rabbit's Foot. The unlucky creature's remains were found by a tree, its intestines wedged between its teeth. While charging UVX, pools of blood appear to you in bright red. Survivors damaged by UVX suffer from the hemorrhage status effect for 30 seconds. Sketch Attempt. The victim's child was given a paper and crayons at the station while he waited for his father to pick him up. Survivors hit by UVX's blast area suffer from oblivious status effect for 20 seconds. Device of undisclosed origin. Was the thing made on Earth or somewhere else entirely? Survivors entering the aura range of hallucination suffer from the oblivious effect. Last known recording. She studied music concrete before she disappeared. Her screams, the last sound on the tape. Reduces the aura range of hallucinations by 25%. Notebook of Theories. His studio apartment was empty and reeked of black mold. The book was the only thing left. Increases the duration of the hindered status effect for the survivor's hit with an airborne UVX projectile by 2 seconds. Slash Backpack. When the survivor was rescued from the mountain pass, she insisted her companion would never wander off alone. Hitting hallucination with a UVX projectile triggers a blast area around it and destroys the hallucination. This also reduces the spawn timer for your next hallucination by 75% after destroying the previous one this way. Victim's Map. He thought the key to solving the mystery lay beyond the forest and feared he would never return. Survivors successfully performing the stare down the unknown interaction trigger killer instincts for 3 seconds. B-movie poster. The movie was rumored to be state-funded propaganda, made specifically for something called Project Apple Pie. Survivors damaged by the UVX suffer from the broken status effect for 30 seconds. Footprint Cast. The cast sits in the Museum of the Weird in Sarasota, Florida, and has long since been debunked. Reduces the spawn timer for your next hallucination by 15 seconds when a survivor becomes weakened. Front page article. The assailant had torn gaping holes in the walls of the cabin and drove into the family woods. Reduces the spawn time for next hallucination by 50% after breaking a breakable wall or a pallet. Hypnotist's Watch. Hypnotherapy was recommended to recover repressed memories. What emerged from his mind would be his undoing. Survivors hit by an airborne UVX projectile suffer from exhausted status effect for 10 seconds. Vanishing Box. The magician was popular at children's parties and quickly became the top suspect. Survivors completing a generator become weakened. Discarded milk carton. She decided to take the long way home and waved goodbye to her friends before parting ways. Causes UVX projectiles to be able to bounce twice. Homemade mask. The killer made the mask in the shed in his backyard, where he would bring others when the sun went down. Survivors successfully performing the spell interaction on hallucinations suffer from the blindness status effect for 45 seconds. Obscure game cartridge. Some maintain Project Apple Pie evolved over time, turning to new forms of media for results. Increases the actions of the following interactions by 30% for 20 seconds after teleporting. Breaking breakable walls, breaking pallets, damaging generators, and vaulting windows. Serum bile. The molecular structure of substance was synthesized in the lab, but its effects could never be replicated. Survivors entering the aura range of hallucinations suffer from the exhausted status effect for 10 seconds. Captured by the Dark. The documentary purported that the disappearances were linked to small town cinemas. Audiences left the theater feeling uneasy. Causes all survivors to start the trial in the weakened state. Reduces the maximum number of coexisting hallucinations in the environment by 1. Iridescent OSS report. The report was redacted to the point of being meaningless, but still theorists tried to extract meaning from it. Reduces the cooldown duration of the teleportability by 5 seconds, increases the lifetime of decoy by 10 seconds, imbues decoy with terror radius and a red stain. That's all the basic information on the unknown. Now let's move over to the Survivor Sable Ward. Sable Ward comes with 3 unique perks. The first one is Invocation Weaving Spiders. The place where fear festers and terror treads is also where those with the gift can reach across the veil. When in the basement near the circle, press the ability button to begin the invocation, which takes 120 seconds to complete. During an invocation, your aura is revealed to all other survivors and they can join in, accelerating the process by 100% if they too have an invocation perk equipped, or by 50% if they do not. Once the invocation is complete, the following effects apply. All generators instantly receive 9, 12, 15 charges of repair progress. You automatically enter the injured state and suffer from broken status effect for the remainder of the trial. Completing an invocation disables all the invocation perks for the remainder of the trial for all survivors. The second perk we have is called Strength in Shadows, a chance for renewed power down where the danger calls home. When you are in the basement, Strength in Shadows activates. Unlocks the Strength in Shadows ability, allowing you to self-heal without a medkit at 60% normal healing speed. Upon finishing a heal in the basement, the aura of the killer is revealed to you for 6, 8, 10 seconds. And then we have the third perk of Wicked. They can try to hurt you, but you're not going down so easily. Grants the ability to successfully unhook yourself when hooked inside the basement. The aura of the killer is revealed to you for 16, 18, 20 seconds after unhooking yourself or being unhooked. And now that we talk about the killer and the survivor, I thought we'd get our thoughts on everything and wrap up. I am super excited for Chapter 31, All Things Wicked. I am so excited that we're getting unlicensed content for this chapter. I find that I'm always more drawn to behaviors unlicensed content. I just find it to be a little bit scarier, and I find the gameplay to be a little bit more unique and fun. So the fact that we're getting some unlicensed content going into this next chapter is exciting for me. I am mostly a survivor main, but I do see myself playing more killer in chapter 31 when the unknown comes out because I think that playing this new killer is going to be such a great time. I'm also excited about the new style perk called Invocations. I'm really excited about Invocations because I just feel like they're going to bring another element of strategy to the game, especially with this one. I love that we have this with all the changes we've kind of been making to the gen battling, especially with the changes to 3 genning and gen tapping being changed as well. I am super excited for what we're seeing coming in here. I love that on the killer side, we're getting some more gen regression perks. Um, but I also love this invocation because I think that with gens being the central part of this game, you want to keep it fresh and not let it get stale. And I find that when you get to the final piece of the game, you're down to the last 3 gens. It just becomes run at every generator, and whoever gets them faster wins. I think invocation kind of adds a little bit of a different element to it, and I really am excited to see how players use this going forward. I think it has a really good home when it comes to Survivor Friends. I don't see a ton of viability in it if you're solo queuing, just because there's a lot of risk and not a ton of reward, especially because you can only use invocations once per trial. So if someone uses it before you use yours, then you sort of have an empty perk slot. Um, and while yes, it's the good's still there, you didn't get to use yours, and maybe you want to time it differently. I think that this is going to be really great in Survivor Friends because you guys can really organize how you want to run this ability. It's got a really good place, especially in the end game when you're down to just needing 1 gen left and the killer's going around and kicking all the gens and doing a great job putting the pressure there. You just detach off the survivor with the invocation, get them down to the basement, and give them some time so they can kind of hit this off and get you some more charges on the generator that's almost done and get that final push going so you can get to the exit gate. With that being said, there's a lot of big changes coming to Chapter 31, All Things Wicked. I'm excited to see how it all plays out. Let me know what you guys think down below. Are you excited for Chapter 31? And what was your favorite chapter release? If you guys want to hear more about this particular chapter or any chapter, let me know. We can always go back and do a deeper dive. I just wanted to get some base information out there since we have some stuff coming and some changes happening. I wanted to make sure just to get as much information out there as possible as quickly as possible. So this way it's kind of condensed. But thank you guys for all being here. I hope to see you guys all at the next one. Peace.